All right, welcome to Triple Coverage Fantasy Podcast, episode 1. We will be here all season for you for all your fantasy podcast needs. We are sponsored by the Suplex Dinner Club. I am one of your hosts, Bradley. I want to go ahead and pass the ball off to your other two hosts so they can introduce themselves.
What's up, guys? My name is Eric, and I am going to be with you all year. I can't wait to do this. Fantasy is one of my favorite things in the world. So let's get to it. I can't wait.
All right.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Zach. I've been playing fantasy for a very long time. Been trying to do a fantasy podcast for even longer. Excited to be here with y'all all season, give y'all some knowledge on this end. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you, fellas. And we will be here all season long. We're going to be here for your waivers, and we're going to be here for your lineups. Now, I know everyone in the world think they are fantasy experts, but you do have three very, very, very official fantasy players, veteran fantasy players. And today, for the first episode, we did something a little fun. Before we get into what we're going to actually discuss, let's talk about these jerseys, right? Everybody's repping their team this morning. All right, so Zach, I see you got the ATL jersey on. So what now? Is that the Bijan jersey or
That is the Bijan jersey, yes sir.
all right.
Hell yeah.
Good deal, good deal. Eric, we are Pats fans. So which Pats jersey do you have on?
I am currently repping the greatest wide receiver of all time, Randy Moss.
Yes.
No competition. No competition.
Correct. And me, myself, personally, I have on the infamous 24. You know that's an infamous number for the Patriots. Now listen,
Yes, sir.
Ty Law wore it, and my other favorite corner, Darrell Revis. This was one of the few times where my favorite player was playing on my favorite team. So, of course, I bought this Darrell Revis jersey for the one season he did play for us and got us a Super Bowl.
I was about to say he brought us a chip. That's all that mattered.
And got us a Super Bowl. I call it the last great Revis season. All right, so listen, we know it is fantasy season here, okay? People have been drafting. People have drafted. I have a draft tonight, so I'm going to be locked in with you guys as well tonight, 8 o'clock. But there's going to be a lot more upcoming drafts as the preseason is getting ready to wind down and we're headed into regular season. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go ahead and lay it all out. We're going to do our top 10 skill positions for fantasy football. Now, this is going to be broken up into a 3-part episode. So this first episode today, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty, and we're going to talk quarterbacks, where they need to go, and your top 10 quarterback picks. Eric, do you want to start by laying out your top 10 quarterbacks for this fantasy season?
Absolutely. I would love to.
All right.
I think the top of the list we're all going to pretty much be kind of the same. But for number one, I've got the current greatest quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
I mean, even without all the weapons that he has currently gotten, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So I just still think that he's going to be the top fantasy quarterback. Number two, I have from Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. With Derrick Henry now, it's going to take a little bit of pressure off of his throwing abilities and him running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I think he's going to actually be able to settle in and actually be a good quarterback this year instead of a halfway running back. Number three, I have Josh Allen. I flipped between Allen and Lamar a bunch of times just because I'm still not sure on Keon Coleman being Allen's number one, but I still think Allen's going to put up enough numbers to produce. Number four, I have Jalen Hurts. He's got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. It's hard to argue with that. And he just got Dotson from Washington. Number five, I've got C.J. Stroud. I mean, I think C.J. Stroud's going to end up being an MVP in the next 2 or 3 years.
Hot take.
Hey, dude is good. Dude came in his
No,
rookie year and was just
That's a lukewarm
slinging
take.
it.
Lukewarm
yeah.
take.
Pause.
It's
Pause.
about as cold as my coffee. um, Speaking of hot takes, number 6, I have Anthony Richardson. Um, Between Pittman and Adonai Mitchell and his running ability, I believe that Anthony Richardson might end up top 5 in passing touchdowns this year. Um,
Okay. Now listen, before you go on to number 7, we have to let everybody in on our fantasy bet. Zach, tell them what you have bet me and Eric.
So I so graciously, uh, which I feel a lot more comfortable with now after seeing what happened at the last preseason game where the team was like the defense. I can't remember what team they were playing, but like they were just like he's gonna throw the ball eventually because he just wasn't. So that makes me feel a whole lot more comfortable with this bet. But I said that if if Richardson ends in the top 12 QB in fantasy, I will buy both of these gentlemen an Anthony Richardson jersey.
Listen, friends, family, casual viewers of the podcast, you heard it. So if you see me rocking an A Rich jersey at the end of the season, it's all thanks to Zach. All right, now Eric, number 7. We're at number 7. Number 7 QB.
Number 7, I have Joe Burrow. I could have put Joe a little bit higher on this list, but with everything going on with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins not really wanting to be there, it seems like the only receiver that is actually trying to play in Cincinnati is Jermaine Burton, and that scares me more than anything in the world. So, so I dropped him down a little bit on the list, and with his injury issues, he could fall even further. Number 8, I have Tua Tagovailoa. Again, it's kind of the same as Jalen. I mean, you've got Tyreek Hill, you've got Jalen Waddle. I mean, you've got all the weapons. You just got to put it together, and stay healthy, please, for my fantasy team. And then number 9, I've got Jordan Love. I don't, pun
What?
intended, love Jordan Love,
Oh my god.
but the list that I have, any of the next like 15 could be swapped out, and I would have been okay with it. But then finally rounding it out is another guy I really don't like at quarterback, but it's hard to argue with what he's done the last 2 years. I have Brock Purdy.
Yes. I too am a part of the Brock Purdy haters club. Yes, sign me up all season. It'll be a season full of Brock Purdy slander.
He's not good. I could do what he does with those weapons.
I don't think it's I don't think anybody's out here being like Brock Purdy's greatest. Well, okay, so I have one employee that's like Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the world. I'm like, you're fired. But
I was about to say fire that guy.
I don't think anybody's out here really being like, you know what, man, Mr. Irrelevant really is going to be the next GOAT. You know, I think everybody's just happy with the consistency that he's providing. And I think that if we lose either Ayuk or Debo on that offense, we're really going to see like what he can provide that team as a leader and as a quarterback. So I'm actually excited to see if Ayuk leaves. I know a lot of San Francisco fans probably don't agree with that, but I mean, I'm really excited to see what that team can become. But I mean, they drafted a really good rookie wide receiver, so I feel like it's just kind of like a move in motion. So he's not going to be missing much, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Me and Bradley
Yeah.
were excited to see him move too, but we didn't want to pay him, so
Well, I don't think anybody's going to pay him what he
So
wants. He's wanting diva money, man.
yeah.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, Ayuk had an amazing season last season. I even had him on my team. He helped me. He helped lead my team to a fantasy championship. But we just have to call it what it is. There's so many weapons there. I can comfortably say he's not one of the top 5, top 7. I don't even think top 10 wide receivers in the NFL if we really sit down and think about it. Matter of fact, we're actually going to pod about it later. But I just don't have Ayuk there. And what was he looking for? 32 million?
Yeah.
32
Was he
million?
looking for 32? Because I thought he was looking for 33. I thought he wanted top.
Oh, he won 33.
Yeah, I thought he wanted top money.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we offered him 32 and he said no because he wasn't sure of our quarterback situation. But then I think like the number did come out that he wanted to be the top paid receiver,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is stupid.
No,
Sorry.
Which
no chance. Yeah.
No
I'm not
chance.
mad at any of these players going to get their coins. Just for
Yeah.
me personally, ranking wise, I just don't have them there.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
so listen, Eric, that was a great list you provided for top 10 quarterbacks. Really quickly, before we move on to Zach, I'm going to ask you this: what should be the first quarterback off the board in which round?
So I know I have them ranked differently, um, but I honestly think Josh Allen should be the first quarterback off the board. Probably, I mean, if we're not doing a super flex league, let the chips fall where they may. But I probably wouldn't draft a quarterback until at least round 6, maybe maybe 5. Um, there's just so much quarterback talent outside of even the top 10. Like, I mean, you've still got a guy like Jared Goff that I didn't talk about. You've got the rookies like Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. Like, there's just so much quarterback talent that you don't necessarily need to reach for a quarterback at this rate. If you could always stack up on your position players, that's going to be the way to go. At least in my opinion, in my expert fantasy championship winning.
No, I agree. Yeah, I don't think there's any game breaking quarterback to where it's like, all right, let's go above top 5, especially with all the skill players that will be available, that is available in fantasy this year. All right, so Zach, let's go ahead and move on to you. Top 10 quarterbacks for the fantasy football season.
I mean, so this is why we do this, right? We do this pre-draft so we can figure out what's going on. My top 10 isn't significantly different in any way from Eric's. There's a couple where we move some pieces around and kind of make it a little different, but number one consensus is always going to be Patrick Mahomes. Um, like Eric stated earlier, he did it last year with basically no weapons, and now he's got scary weapons. So it's just like, okay, so he's just going to continue to be on a track to GOAT status very quickly. And with Andy Reid's offense, it's hard not to be, right?
Yep.
Two, I have Josh Allen. I think I'm not too concerned with whoever he's throwing the ball to just because of his ability to sling it. Somebody's going to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It could be an undrafted free agent from Australia rugby team, and he's catching that ball. You know what I mean? Like, Josh Allen just puts it where it needs to be. 3, I got Lamar. I think you're right. I don't think Henry plays too vital of a role in the run game other than goal line work. I feel like so we're going to see some regression from Lamar's touchdown ticks when it comes to rushing touchdowns, because I think a lot of that bulk is going to go to Derrick Henry.
Okay.
4, I got my counterpart's lukewarm take. I got C.J. Stroud at 4. I think he'll be in the MVP discussion this year. I think with the amount of weapons that he has and the coach that he has there, the team that they're building in Houston, he's going to be in that conversation all season. Barring injury, I think that he takes it, to be completely honest. 5, I got Jalen Hurts. Again, you got Slim Reaper and you got A.J. Brown. I mean, that's just so scary. And then you just go and pick up a third receiver just in case one of them get hurt. You're like, all right, they're in it. So 6, I got Burrow. I'm not too concerned. Jamar seems willing to extend contract talks to into the season, if not after the season. He seems very willing to do that. He wants to play with Burrow. He wants to play in Cincy. It's not like a T. Higgins situation where he doesn't want to be there and he wants the big bag. I think he's just kind of feeling out the market and see what happens with the CD situation, and then he'll have his conversations with the office in Cincy. But I feel like he's definitely less worrisome than another receiver that we're going to pot about. 7, I got Jordan Love. I actually am a Jordan Love fan. I do like him quite a lot this season. I think his wide receiver trio is one of the best in the NFL. I think they're young. They're a young core. I think going out and getting a running back like Josh Jacobs to kind of take that pressure, who's also a great blocking back. I think Jordan Love's going to have an outstanding season. He's going to be well within that race of MVP with CJ Stroud. Um, this is where it gets a little funky. I had to do some moving around.
Okay.
So 8, I put. Originally, I had another quarterback, but 8, I went ahead and went with Tua. You know, he's got everything he needs. Like he's got it all in front of him, with a head coach who's got one of the best minds in offensive football. So it's just hard to, like you said, man, barring injury, he's just got to put it together. Like he's just got to get out there and put it together, and he's got everything he needs out there. Number 9, I'm not a fan of this one either, but I kind of had to move him up. We're going to go with Brock Purdy. Like I stated earlier, I don't think it's really his consistency is great. I think that he'll continue to be the quarterback that he is with that staff and with those players. So I'm not really too concerned with him. He should finish as a top 10 wide receiver or a top 10 quarterback, in fantasy this year, easily with his wide receiver crew. Like Debo, you can do everything with, and if Ayuk stays and everything like that, he looks for Ayuk a lot. I think it was something like 40% of plays he's looking for Brandon, right? So I mean, like, he should stay.
It's crazy.
And then 10, I got Dak Prescott. I had him at 8, but I had to move him down a couple notches just because of how concerning this CD situation is. And you can't have your wide receiver 1 be an aged Brandon Cooks and expect people to still want to draft you as high as you were getting drafted. So that's my top 10.
Okay. So that was an incredible top 10 list. Surprised you threw Dak in there, and me too, Zach. I am a fan of Jordan Love. I hate the Packers colors, but there's something exciting about that kid. There's some dynamic about that kid, and he finds those receivers. So I'm going to pitch the same question to you as I pitched to Eric. Who should be the first quarterback off the board, and what round should they go in?
Man, so I've seen a lot this year so far. I've seen a lot of them get picked in the first round, and it just completely shattered the draft. It just completely as someone who does as much prep as I do for fantasy leagues, as soon as that happens, I'm like, I'll throw my papers in the air. I'll be like, I'm done here. Yeah.
Because it's the domino effect,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Soon as somebody grabs a quarterback, everybody panics and start grabbing quarterbacks. I do not know why, but it's a thing. And it's not just my league, it's your league, it's Eric's league, it's leagues all around the world. The great quarterback scramble. So, first quarterback for you in which round?
So I would definitely go with Patrick Mahomes. If it's a beautiful 12-man league and everyone knows what they're doing and everyone's drafting appropriately, in my opinion, the drop-off is a little significant after the top 3, after Mahomes, Allen, and in my opinion, Lamar. So if those 3 guys are going and they go a little early, I'd say the best time to do that would probably be around 4 or 5, just to seal that kind of like, okay, I got my 400 some odd points for my quarterback. Now I can start like really heavily working on my skill guys and my bench players. So yeah, I'd say Patrick at 4 or 5. I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
I'm right with Eric. I think 6 is perfect. But there's so much depth. Yeah, I have a whole other side of this list. Yeah. So I mean, but I'd say if you really were really being like, I really want to lock down a quarterback, I'd go Patty it in the 5th round or 4th round.
And it's crazy to me too this year. Like, it's not like there's a bunch of quarterback despairs. Even like I said, outside of our top 10, there's like 15 more quarterbacks that are good enough to start in fantasy. That it's not like we've only got 5 quarterbacks and then the rest of the league is trash. Like, it's like I said, anything from 11 to like 20 on my list, I could swap here and there. Like, there's just so much. The first round quarterbacks, there's no reason to reach. There's no reason. And make me hate my life and tear my papers up and start screaming at my computer.
you can sniff out a rookie in fantasy so easily because they did zero research and they were just like, I know who Patrick Mahomes is. He's going
Right.
101, baby, and it's just like, all right,
My
cool.
favorite my favorite is when you just draft your favorite players or like your entire like favorite team. Like, ooh, 1-1, I'm gonna draft Kirk Cousins,
You know,
and then I'm just like, oh god, it's gonna be this kind of draft.
And it's just the way the game is played now with the NFL. They're throwing the ball so much.
Yeah,
Even if a guy isn't the most elite quarterback, if he's serviceable, he's gonna get you about 22 to maybe 29 points weekly if he's just serviceable.
hmm
And if you got that depth with the skill players, it's gonna offset you not having a Mahomes or you not having a Josh Allen or you're not having a Lamar Jackson just because you have the other skill players running it up. All
yep.
right, so for this episode, I want to go ahead and I want to give my top 10 quarterbacks. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to go with the greatest quarterback of all time. Not this season, I'm going to say all time. And yes, I'm a Patriots fan, and we love Tom Brady. But this Patrick Mahomes is something. Did you guys see him in the preseason throwing behind the back passes out of anger to Travis Kelsey? Like,
hmm
who does that? What
hmm
kind of stuff is that in a football game? We haven't seen anything like it before, so I'm going number one, Patrick Mahomes. He's added Hollywood Brown. He has Xavier Mitchell, who has been lighting it up in the preseason. Makes me feel like Xavier Mitchell is going to be an amazing addition. Not to mention Rasheed Rice is coming back. Um, he had a heavy utilization rate last year, and I don't doubt that he'll have it this year. So I'm going Patrick Mahomes, number one. Number two, I'm going Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is probably going to lead the league in passing yards. I think he's going to throw for a ton of yards. Um, I remember this one season where we really didn't have a good running back in New England, and Tom Brady just threw the ball, threw the ball, threw the ball, and had like 5,000 yards, tons of touchdowns, and things like that. And I can foresee this happening with Josh Allen here. Number three, I'm going with Lamar Jackson. Um, there's no reason not to go with Lamar Jackson. If we're just talking fantasy football season, you want to get him. Now, if you had to get Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, playoff Lamar Jackson, then I would worry. But fantasy season, Lamar Jackson can win you a league easily, easily. Number four, I got Jalen Hurts here. Um, I'm not the biggest Hurts fan, but for fantasy, he has to be here. Has tons of weapon. Added Saquon. I feel real good about him being the number four quarterback in the rankings. Number five, this is a guy I absolutely love. If he ever wants to come to New England, we will welcome him with open arms. I gotta go Joe Burrows here. Regardless of any situation that's going on with wide receivers and dysfunction and things of that nature, Joe Burrows is a great quarterback. Just flat out, he's a great quarterback. Um, and I think he can make it work with what he has. They have upgraded the line a little bit. Um, so we'll see what happens here. He's coming off an injury. I hope he's fully healthy because he's going to take a hit at some point with the division that he's in. And hopefully he withstands that and is able to maintain. I do think Joe Burrows is on that cusp of moving up to that upper tier. We'll see how this season goes for him. Number six, I have CJ Stroud. I think he's going to have an amazing season. Um, I didn't put him higher because I'm interested to see how this thing works out with Stephon Diggs, and he has Tank Dell, he has Nico Collins. You know, Stephon Diggs get real uninterested in the game if he's not getting the ball. We kind of seen that his last season with Buffalo. There were some rumblings that him and Josh Allen weren't getting along. I couldn't quite tell, but he got real disinterested in the game at points in time last season. Number seven, I have Dak Prescott. I think Dak and CD is going to go ahead, link up and have another great season. I have no doubt in my mind Jerry Jones will pay CD. And if he doesn't, Dallas has this odd, odd way of finding players to make plays. Remember, this is how we got what's the running back who just recently left?
Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
Pollard. You know, we had this is how we got Pollard. Um, we have Rico Dowdell. It's another receiver they have. Gallup. Guys just make plays, or at least they make plays on Sunday night. At least when the Cowboys is on TV. So, so I have Dak there. Number 8, I have Jordan Love. I am a fan of Jordan Love. Uh, I don't want to big him up too much because I know guys in my fantasy league is going to be watching, and I don't want to tip my hat off or anything like that. But I really love Jordan Love. Number 9, I didn't want to put him here. Again, I'm not a fan, but I got to go Brock Purdy. Too many weapons. He's very comfortable in that offseason. And the 49ers are flat out a Super Bowl favorite. And I think that he's going to do an amazing job of, managing that offense again. Interested to see how he does get the rookie wide receiver, Ricky Paracel, I believe it is, involved in that offense. If Ayuk comes back, you have Ricky in the slot, you have Debo out there, and then you have McCaffrey. Who knows where that offense goes with that many weapons and that much firepower. And at number 10, yes, I left Tua out because I wanted to put in my guy, Anthony Richardson.
Y'all are
Hold
insane.
on to your seats. He is going to light it up. He's going to light it up. And guess what? Every time he does, I will be sending a friendly message to Zach. I hope Zach is watching and seeing the amazing Anthony Richardson. So that rounds out our list of top 10 quarterbacks. Now, I'm going to answer my own question. The number 1 quarterback off the board should no doubt be Patrick Mahomes. Too many weapons. He's just clicking on all cylinders. He's in his peak of quarterback playing right now. Me personally, I think he shouldn't go no higher than 5th round. It's just too much skill player depth out here. And if you're really, really doing your research, you wouldn't get him nowhere close to about the 5th round because it's really, really so much depth here. And there's going to be a lot of guys still available, even in that 5th round, to where quarterback may slip to 6th, 7th round just because it's going to be that many guys available. A lot of guys coming back healthy. There's some guys in that mid-range where you would want to take a chance on and you would feel comfortable taking in that 4th, 5th round, and quarterback could become secondary. And I get it. They light it up. They're guaranteed, like Zach said, 400, 450 points, whatever. But if you are a true fantasy pro and you're not in a super flex league, I wouldn't even think about quarterback to 5th round, honestly, because it's just so much depth there from wide receiver to running back, which we are going to cover in part 2 of the fantasy pod. So, guys, before we close the quarterback episode, do we have anything we want to say, some surprises, anybody we're looking out for this season at the quarterback position that you feel we didn't mention in the top 10, but is going to light it up?
First of all, let me. What am I getting in return for when Anthony Richardson does not land in the top 12 of fantasy quarterbacks? What are we? What does that get? Because I'm super confident, and y'all seem very confident to put him in your top 10s. So, like, where's the discussion at? What's that going to get?
I'll get you a Young Wei Koo jersey.
You mean the best scoring player on my team for the last 3 years? I'll take it.
Right?
Listen, so if Anthony Richardson does not finish top 12, we have to get you a Falcons jersey. So I'm going to go with Drake London. He's going to go with Koo. So if he does not finish top 12,
2 jerseys.
we'll send you a 2 jerseys, because you would have to
It's only
send out
fair.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have to
Yeah.
send out, so 2 jerseys. Drake London, USC, fight on, and then he's gonna get you. A cool jersey. Hey, we gotta have like a off episode on college football.
Oh,
But
100%.
Zach,
Yes, sir.
Zach, tell me who's somebody you looking forward to, QB wise, that may light it up this season that we didn't mention in our top 10.
I think we're all excited to see this guy and see if he's capable of being the player that we've all expected him to kind of be coming out of college. I'm really stoked to see Kyler Murray. I really think that the opportunity is there for him to have a great season. I think that they're finally starting to kind of put the weapons around him and build the team based upon what they want out of Kyler. And I think that we could. This is the year that we could get it right. Coming off injury, he looks great. He doesn't. I mean, he's not really talking to media a ton, but when he is, he's super confident. He loves his team. He loves what they're capable of being this season, and I think that that's really. I was very close. I put him at 12. I was so close to putting him in my top 10. So.
Well, there also is no new Call of Duty coming out this year, so he should be good.
There you go. That's true. A lot of film room.
Film. One of my quarterbacks, well, 2 of them actually, that I'm very excited to watch this year. I've got Goff. I just think with a full year of Jamison Williams, assuming he doesn't get busted for gambling again, and another season of Amon-Ra St. Brown together with the team that Detroit has, and not even mention Sam Laporta. I just want, and Gibbs. I just want to see what Goff can do with that offense. That's one of them, and Bradley, we talked about this. Caleb Williams.
Yes.
Caleb Williams.
Yes.
I'm curious because in one of my leagues, he is my backup quarterback that I believe could potentially be my starter, depending on how well Brock Purdy does. I did draft in that league. I got Caleb and Adunze, so I got the stack. But
great stack.
But also, like I did want to mention the talk about the quarterback disparity. I won a league 2 years ago with Tyler Huntley and Mac Jones as my 2 quarterbacks. So
how'd that happen?
Because I stacked up on offensive weapons.
Okay.
I did have Lamar most of the year, but then I think in 22 he got hurt at the very, very end, so I had to run with Huntley in my playoff run. I think I won my last game by 0.5 points. So shout out to Tyler Huntley. Which goes to show you, just watch the waiver wires, guys. Watch the waiver wires.
And we're going to be talking about that all season long. Watch the waiver wires. For me, to close, I have to say a quarterback that I'll be interested in looking at. I'm not going to go with the obvious Caleb Williams. It's going to be the guy I left outside of my top 10, and that's Tua. Tua has 2 great running backs and a plethora of wide receivers. How are we managing that offense? Are we running more to keep Tua off a lot of those hits? Are we feeding the ball to Tyreek Hill again for another 1,900 yard season? We have Odell Beckham Jr. and Waddle. Is Waddle going to make it a full season in Miami? He drops a lot of passes. Where are we at on him? I know he's definitely off my draft board for fantasy, 100%. So I'm intrigued to see what happens with Tua. But everybody, if you can, like, share, and subscribe. We will be here all season. Triple Coverage Fantasy Podcast. We are sponsored by the Suplex Dinner Club. I'm Bradley. You have Eric and Zach. And this is a wrap for episode 1. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in a minute. We're going to talk running backs in part 2. Stay tuned.